Hi everybody, it's Becca. It's been a while since I did an update. My last update was my IUI results, and I need to talk about that. And it's just been crazy because I went to BC, and then I just got back Monday on the 18th. And then on the 15th was our move day for a new house. I'm in my new house right now. And there's still a lot of work to do, and I'm having people over today. Well, just my family. I'm going to do like a slow cooker meal, which I might show you guys because it's really delicious and it's everything free, of course. Well, not everything, but you know, a lot of stuff free since I'm allergic. So I'm just sitting here at the little breakfast nook, and I'm eating some blueberries and drinking a glass of water. And I want to update you on my IUI results. Last time I told you guys that I took a test and it was negative, which was true. And my kitty is trying to pull a grape out of the floor right now, so that's what that banging is. And I did. I took it on the Friday before I left for BC, and it was completely negative. Now, AF was very brown and spotty, very light, and I was like, oh, okay, well, Saturday, I'm like, well, usually it takes a couple days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's still very light and brown, and I'm like, this is a little weird. So I took a test, and on the test, it was so faint, it was almost like you could see a line if you put it like in the light, angled it, but besides that, you couldn't see it at all. So I just thought it was probably the test, and it was a negative. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday come along, AF is still brown and spotty, and there's no full flow. So I'm going, okay, what's going on? So Wednesday, I took another test, and there was a line, which I've never seen a line in my life. It was a light line, but it was still there. My husband was here back at our place, like 9 hours away, and I was in BC at my family's house, so I had nobody to talk to. So I went up to my mom and I said, what does this look like? And this was, okay, so basically this is what happens. I say, well, what does this look like? I want to get her opinion. I went downstairs. I showed her discreetly. I didn't want to show it the whole entire family yet because I didn't know if it was true, if like what was going on. She grabs the test from me, runs upstairs, screaming my auntie's name before I even had a chance to talk. This is why I didn't tell her I was getting an IUI in the first place. Which I was not very happy with. Then they go ahead, my auntie and my mom call my cousin, who's the same age as me, we're very close. They tell her. Yeah. And then my other auntie's calling about something else, and then they tell her. And I am losing it by this point. I'm so angry. I text my husband, and he's really mad at me that I showed my mom, because he's like, well, you shouldn't have showed anybody. But I'm like, well, I wanted to kind of know. So I gotta switch hands. My hand is shaking. So I go ahead. They go buy another pregnancy test, one of the digital ones that tell you how many weeks. And as they're out, I have time to get super angry and upset. So one of our family friends was on vacation with us too, so we were talking, and I was getting more and more upset. And so when my mom got home, she went downstairs and said, look, your daughter's really angry at you, so don't be all happy, happy, joy, joy. Because I didn't want anybody to know yet in my family until I knew for certain, like 3 months. And I want to be the one to tell them. So 2 reasons why. So I am really upset. We have a long conversation. She apologizes, but damage is done. There's nothing I can do. So now I'm in BC, and my grandma doesn't know, but all of my aunties do. Well, except for one, but I'll go into that in a second. So I'm like, great. If she finds out that I told everybody else, I'm just grabbing something to rest my arm on, that I told everybody else except for her, she's going to be very upset. So like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm not going to tell her yet. So then we're going to Chilliwack to visit my other auntie, and I'm still spotting, but now it gets heavier and it's red. So I'm thinking, okay, obviously I'm not pregnant, or it was ectopic, or it was a chemical pregnancy. Really worried. My husband's worried. He's talking to me. He's wanting me to go to emergency since I'm out there and he can't be there with me. And so the bleeding doesn't stop. I take another pregnancy test. It says 1 to 2 weeks pregnant at 4 in the morning because I can't sleep because I'm super stressed out about this. So then I wake up my mom and I say, I'm going to call a cab, go to the emergency room since I'm in BC and I'm in a different province and I don't have a family doctor here. So she wakes up and she wants to come with me, but we get lost. So we end up having to go back to my auntie's house and wake her up. It's like 5:30 in the morning by this time. And she comes with us. So I had to tell her what was going on. She can't just say, I just want to go to the emergency room for no reason. So, so then she knows. So then all of my aunties know at this point. My husband's okay with that one because obviously. So I get to the emergency room. They get me to take, they do another like urine pregnancy test. And they both come up completely negative. Which 2 hours before it came up positive. I know I had drinking a bottle of water while I was waiting in emergency, so I'm like, okay, I'm really confused by this point. And then he like felt my stomach and he said, okay, well, it's not hard and you don't feel pain, so it wouldn't be ectopic. Could have just been a chemical pregnancy, I don't know. So I'm like, okay. He's like, really, all you can do is wait. He says, you don't need to go to emergency unless you're bleeding more than your normal period, have a fever, or have extreme pain. So those are the symptoms, and I was like, okay, well, I don't have any of those, so I talked to my husband, and that was what it is. So, of course, I go to Walmart, and I buy, like, 4 different tests, and I test, there. So I test all of them, and so the next day I take 3 tests, just maybe as test error. All 3 come up positive, so I'm like, I took a digital one that said yes, I took a digital one that said 1 to 2 weeks pregnant, and I took a line one that showed a line. So I'm like, okay, am I pregnant, am I not pregnant? I'm really confused. What's going on? So that happens, and then I'm still like, okay, so then my mom, she saw all the tests, and she's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, I wanted to know. So then for the rest of my vacation, every day except for the last 2, I took a test. And every day it came up positive. So I had like 7 positive tests. And then the last 2 days before I left, I didn't end up testing because I was just getting too stressed out about it, about what's going on. So I just wanted to get back. I was so anxious to get back home, see my family doctor, find out what's going on. So I take... And I also wanted to wait because I had 1 more of the how many weeks, and I was hoping that it was going to go up instead of 1 to 2 to say 2 to 3. And I wanted to wait until I got back so that it would give enough time to change it if, in fact, like your levels are doubling or whatever. So while I'm in BC, I end up having to tell my grandma because she would be really upset if she was the last one to know. And I also ended up having to tell... Well, I didn't have to, but we went and visited my dad's dad, so my grandpa, and he's like 86, and he's not doing very well. Some days are better than others, but I like every time I see him, I don't know if it's the last time. So he asked me, and I told him, and then he has my great aunties were there with him, so he started crying, and it was just a sweet, quiet moment. And and the way I put it, same way as I put it with my grandpa, I may be pregnant, I don't know. I did get a positive test, but I need to wait to find out, and that's how I put it, so I didn't get anybody's hopes up. So then finally I get back from vacation, and I come here, and we've also moved the house at the same point, and so I'm crazy busy, but oh well. I go to the doctor's on Tuesday. Well, I take a test first thing in the morning, and it says 2 to 3 weeks pregnant instead of 1 to 2. So I'm a little excited. I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. Could these tests really be telling me the truth? Am I actually pregnant? So my family doctor, it takes like a long time to get in to see an appointment. So we decided we'll just go see him in walk-in, and he wasn't in walk-in until like 5. So we did a bunch of stuff, errands, getting things for the new place, and then we went and saw him, and he just did a urine pregnancy test, and he said it was a very strong positive and that I am pregnant. So at this point I'm getting a little excited. So he ordered blood tests twice a week for 2 months. He said I might not have to go for 2 months, but he puts 2 months on there in case something happens that I need to go longer, and then I don't have to come back and get a whole new sheet. And my family doctor doesn't do maternity, but there's another doctor in there. Sorry, my throat is really getting dry. There's a couple doctors in the clinic that I go to that do. So he told me to call the fertility clinic, make sure I'm not high risk, see if they like need any tests or anything done. And if not, then I can just proceed with a family doctor. So that was just a couple, like yesterday he called. So it's the weekend now, so I'll probably call and leave a message today and then book my first appointment. And so I've done 2 blood tests already, and I hate needles, but oh well, it is what it is. Then I got to do 2 more next week, and basically they're just trying to make sure the levels are doubling and there's nothing happening. I'll talk about symptoms and all that in another video. This is just like an IUI update. So the IUI actually worked. As of right now, I am pregnant. I am still so nervous that it's not going to stick. My husband and I, we're having a really hard time being excited about this because we're so nervous that it's not going to stick and it's not going to work. Just because, I mean, it's been 3 years, and for it to work on the first IUI we've ever gotten, and it worked. I mean, I did acupuncture with it, and I've changed my eating, and I've lost weight, and like we did a lot of natural stuff for months, like about 10 months or so before this procedure. So getting like your body baby ready, basically. So for it to work on the first try, and for it to actually stick, it just seems too good to be true. So I am excited, I'm optimistic, but I'm super nervous that something's gonna happen. I don't know. It just feels too good to be true. I can't believe it, and I'm just so worried that I'm gonna have a miscarriage or something. And I mean, I don't have a history of any of this just because I've never been pregnant before, so I'm probably just psyching myself out, but at the same time, it's just how I feel. I can't help it. So that is the update. The IUI actually did work. Officially right now, I am pregnant, so my due date, if all goes according to plan, is April 19th. And yeah, so that's kind of what happened. This crazy roller coaster. But I will keep you guys updated and let you know what happens and when I get those blood test results and the first visit I have with my doctor. And I see my naturopath on Monday too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a long video, so I'm going to end it here. Bye now.